Right, guys, welcome to Irish Footy Vlogs. Delighted to welcome some staunch League of Ireland fans today. We've got Paul Fedderson for Bowes, JP Fahy from Derry City, and Philip Warner for Shamrock Rovers. How are you all getting on, lads?
Good.
Great, yeah.
Great stuff. We'll get into the European ties first, I suppose. We'll start with JP because Derry were up first. JP, I have to say the Derry-Retaria game is probably the most disappointing of the three Irish clubs in Europe, wasn't it?
I think so. I think it's a huge opportunity missed for us. The first half hour, maybe 35 minutes, it just looked like Derry were going to run away with it. When we took the lead through Joe Thompson, we dominated the play, and I thought this could be another Gretna, where we could maybe run out 4 or 5 goals. But I think 2 goals either side of a half-time whistle for Lemons just like literally killed the tie. Well, it didn't kill the tie for us, but it turned the tie in their favour. But I thought when we got the equaliser, we had so many chances they get the winning goal, and we didn't take them. And it wasn't to say that we were wistful. We were hitting the target, and the keeper was parrying them. We just didn't have anybody in the 6-yard box. They tap it home, and they concede a goal 30 seconds, and the extra time was really disappointing, and in the manner that we conceded it, because it's not even a good effort. He's just thanked Peter Cherry for it.
It's disappointing enough, JP, because I know as Irish clubs we don't really have a right to kind of expect to win games in Europe, but I genuinely expected Derry to win that because the Lithuanian side are bottom of the league. I think they've won 116 games. You felt Derry were more than capable of going there and getting results, but maybe, as we were kind of saying off air earlier, the fact that Derry, there's a lot of new players in that squad, maybe the other side are more of a team unit than Derry City. What would you think there?
To be fair, I thought, even though it was Derry quite a new team, I thought they were the better team. And as you say, maybe if they had a few more games together, and it could have been the case of if we had been playing from March, where we could have had our match fitness together. But I just felt it was a huge opportunity missed, and they did look a more of a unit than Derry. They seemed as Derry started making changes, Derry just seemed to not know what they were doing. When they made changes, everybody was in tandem, like.
Yeah, I mean, I think Devine, I heard, was disappointed even at United Park. He's still feeling that defeat in Europe, isn't he?
Yeah, the thing is, Devine's a fan, so when we lose, he's got that wee bit of, and I think he puts pressure on himself as well, because he's a Derry man, that he has to perform for us. But at the same time, because he's a Derry man, he's going to, and if he performs above, because last year he performed way above expectations, I think this year, the Derry fans maybe give him a wee bit of a bye ball, but I think a lot of people are disappointed, and they're not disappointed with Devine himself. I think the majority are disappointed with Peter Cherry, to be honest.
Yeah, Cherry has struggled in a few games recently as well. I think it was your last league. It was Cork City where he dropped the ball as well. That was disappointing as well. Mind you, I know there was a bit of a win in that match, and McNulty made a similar error as well. But it's hard to have confidence in your keepers making mistakes if you're a defender, isn't it?
And it seems to be that way. We've got I think Owen Tolles, in my opinion, outside the maybe Dundalk and Shamrock Rovers centre halves, I think maybe Owen Toll could be the best centre half in the League of Ireland if you take away the big two. But
it's probably up there, JP, with the Dundalk back two. I wouldn't say is absolutely fantastic. I think he's more than, isn't he? He's more than capable of getting in the Dundalk side, and of course Dundalk do sign a lot of players with Derry, so.
And he's an Armagh fan as well, so it's only down the road from his home. But I think the back four, you can never have confidence if your keeper's making mistakes. If you go back to the Van Harp's game earlier in the season, we lost the ball, and we didn't lose the ball in the edge of our own box. We lost it quite a bit up a pitch. But when we did lose the ball, Ryan Connolly had a free net to hit that, Peter Cherry wasn't even in his goal, and I think he was so good for us last year. Apart from maybe one game against Dundalk in the FAI Cup where he made a mistake at the end of extra time with Georgie Kelly header, he spilled it in the net. But I think this season, I don't know what's been up with him, but he just seems to be a mistake, maybe one every 3 or 4 games. But he's still a good keeper, but the defence just seem to not have confidence in him at the minute.
No, that's true. Paul, on to Bohemians of Feravar from Hungary. Now, for my money, to be honest, I thought Bohs had the most difficult tie of all the teams in Europe. These guys had 15 internationals in their side, finished second to Ferencváros in Hungary in the league. Bohs, I hate saying this in a way because people say a brave performance and you still lose, but it was a brave performance by Bohs, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a solid enough performance as well. Like, looking back on the game, the first 15, probably 20 minutes before we got the goal, we caused all the problems for ourselves with mistakes at the back and stuff like that. But other than that, I thought we defended well, we were organised, and it was impressive, to be honest, because I think everyone was expecting Bohs to lose. Bohs fans probably had a glimmer of hope just because it's their club, that kind of way. 1-16 at one point, the Bohs were to win the 1-16, 16-1 to win the game. On some sides, like, it's huge. We had chances to win it, but they had loads of chances as well. We definitely had chances to win it. It was a difficult tie, and disappointing to go out on penalties, but that's the way it goes, isn't it? Look at the draw when it goes to penalties.
Yeah, it was unlucky, but I was impressed the way that they obviously lasted the full 120 minutes. Like, the fitness levels are obviously good there. And we were speaking off air a little bit, and just there actually about Derry City and how they've so many new players in the team. Bohs are a team unit. Do you get me? You can pick their best 11 at this minute in time. There's not even a place for Danny Mandrew, and in my opinion, that's right, because if you're winning games and your team is organised, I've seen a few Bohs people have a complaint about that, but in my opinion, it's the right decision. Once you're winning games, why would you bring him in? Some people have complained that Talbot isn't in goal, but for me, McGuinness is just as good, if not better, if I'm honest with you. I don't know. What do you think of that yourself?
It's a tough one. We've 2 great goalkeepers there.
Yeah, it's not a bad complaint. Yeah.
Talbot obviously was Keith Long's number 1 last season. Coming into this season, he will be number 1 again. He picked up the injury against Rovers, first game of the season. So McGuinness came in. He's done unbelievable. So I don't think there's much between the two of the lads. But it's the manager's choice, isn't it? And if you're winning games, you're not going to change it.
Yeah, it's a case of if the keeper's performing well and the other guy comes back after injury, you can't just put him in the team if he's performing well. So, you know what I mean? It's obviously communicating well, that back line, because I think they've conceded, 3 goals, maybe 4 in the league. They've a solid back line. They've a lot of options there, but you've got the likes of Lyons, who I think is really starting to blossom, by the way, as a right back now. He was linked to Crystal Palace, I don't know, 6-7 months ago, whatever it was now. But he's really starting to show his ability now as well, isn't he?
Yeah, he's a very good player. We can't see him playing League of Ireland football for too long. So hopefully Bohs can give him a bit of a contract to keep, if not to keep him there, but to ensure that we get something for him,
Yeah, do a bit of a Matt Doherty on it, I suppose, isn't it?
Yeah.
We'll get to that later, actually, Paul, as well. We'll move on quickly to Shamrock Rovers, because they played Yves Tampere from Finland, and Shamrock Rovers obviously the only team that got through. They did win the lottery in the penalty shootout. I expected Rovers to actually win this one over the 90 minutes, but in the circumstances going down to 10 men with Liam Scales sent off on that, look, I was delighted any Irish team got through. At one stage, I thought all 4 were going to go out, and you can see people, they're anti-League of Ireland fans, waiting with their sticks to batter the league. That's why I was happy Bohs did well against Feravar as well, even though they didn't go through. But what did you make of the Rovers game overall, Philip?
Back and forward wasn't for the faint-hearted, that's for sure. Look, of course, delighted to go through. That's the most important thing. But the thing that impressed me the most is the character that the whole squad showed when we went down to 10. It was real gutsy stuff from there on. And we played well in spells of the game, but again, the side we played were pretty good as well with the ball when it came to going forward. So look, overall, we're delighted to go through. obviously it was a bit of a frantic way to go through with that big mad penalty shootout, but we don't give a damn. We're through. That's the main thing, you know. So, yeah.
12-11 on penalties, yeah. That's just ridiculous, isn't it? It's mental. I will say the stream was a disaster, though, wasn't
it? It was. Look, at the end of the day, we can turn around and say, yeah, it was a disaster. And the club have opened up and said that themselves. Look, they're giving refunds to people that want them. But what I'll say is the club are doing the right things. They have been doing the right things over the past couple of years. And things like that, when everything is written off, it's all behind closed doors. The club still is trying their best to give the fans access to games, you know, and for that you can only credit them. Fair enough, it didn't really work out in terms of the stream, but we had the prof inside. He was lucky enough to watch the match, so we kind of got to. I didn't get to see it live, but he went live himself on Facebook, and we got to see the penalties online afterwards. Anyway, so we did get some sort of coverage. And to be fair to the club, they did do a quick highlights video about 7 or 8 minutes long, showing the main chances in the game. So look, we got to see it. Some of the other fans that from Rovers were lucky enough to be over the fence, as you may have heard. There was a flare set off as well. So, look, happy overall. It doesn't matter if we didn't get to see it. The main thing is we're through.
Yeah, in fairness, though, they did offer the refund, so it's up to the people whether they want to take that on or not. Like, you know what I mean? I think a lot of fans actually won't take it.
No, they won't. That's one thing we'll say. The fans are very genuine and they understand the circumstance that the club has gone through. Like any other club across the country, we're no exception. Like, everyone's kind of gone through tough times. Like, you can see that people don't want the refunds. They're okay with it. It's, what was it, a tenner? Like, you know, it is what it is. But these things happen.
When I seen the fans over the fence, Philip, it was kind of like a bittersweet thing because it's great and also kind of sad, isn't it? That players have to go over applauding fans that are behind a gate. Do you know what I mean? Like, they're not in a stadium. There's an element of that for me as well. I was thinking it's kind of sad and, you know, a sign of the times and the times we live in, and it's kind of disappointing, but great that some of them, I suppose, saw the shootout.
Exactly. It just goes to show the caliber of fans we have as well. Like, to be fair to the lads, I wouldn't be someone that would be able to go to every single game, as we spoke about recently. But you've got lads that are following the team up and down the country when games. Obviously, you're able to go to games, and I'm pretty sure Pat's done it as well. They went to Finn Harps there a few weeks back as well. A couple of, you know,
with a few sheep as well.
Yeah. It just goes to show, like, across the board, like, there are people in the league that follow up and down the country, and, like, you know, as we said, it's not ideal that people are standing on 10 feet high barriers trying to look over, but, like, it's anything to do for your club. Like, you know, you want to see your team and you want to see them on big nights in Europe, and it just goes to show.
Who do you fancy in the next round? Doesn't matter.
It genuinely doesn't bother me as long as we get through. Like, you know, like, at the end of the day, we all the Rovers fans love Europe, and, like, we really hope to do well and get a good run in it. But we know exactly what we're focusing on this year across the board. We don't care about Europe in terms of the league. The league is the main priority. And I know a couple of people have said we seem to be choking over the past couple of weeks, but me personally, I don't think so. I think it's that teams are actually now. We're at a stage where teams in the league are coming to play us, and they're changing their style because we're playing so well. And that's just credit to Bradley and what he's doing with the club and how we're going forward. Like, at the end of the day, if we keep playing football the way we're playing, I know we haven't been great the past couple of games in the league, but if we keep playing like the way we have been, there's no doubt we'll be doing the likes of a Dundalk and going and being successful over the next couple of years.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. JP, on to you quickly. I'm just going to talk about the cup games over the weekend very quickly as well. Yeah, good win and draw to the last night. You've seen some of it, you said yourself. Opinions on that generally? Do you think Derry have a chance of winning the cup?
I think any team has a chance of winning the cup, really. I think I watched a wee bit of it. Well, any team left.
Yeah.
Any team always has a chance. If you think back to 2012 when Declan Devine's first season in charge, nobody fancied us to win the cup. I think we were even underdogs to beat Shelburne in the semi-final, and we did that. And then we went to the final as total underdogs and came from behind. They won the cup, and it's just about getting the right draw, isn't it? Really, the last couple of years we've drawn Dundalk, I think, and we've been put out. And if we can avoid, I think Dundalk at the minute they're they're in turmoil, aren't they? So people may be looking for them if they get through against Cove Ramblers today. But if you get the right draw in the next round, I know it's taking place after the season's end. It's all about the right draw and getting into semi-final.
No disrespect to Athlone Town, but I think most people will be looking at that tie. Let's be honest about it. You know what I
mean?
Yeah. Philip, Shamrock Rovers obviously take on Cork City on, is that Monday?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
because of the break. Yeah. How are you feeling about that one? Cork City obviously not doing very well this season. You'd expect Rovers to win that, wouldn't you?
Yeah, it's a game we should win. But look, as we've seen, Cork have kind of over the past couple of games been hit and miss. You know, they've been excellent or they've been dreadful. And look, from our perspective, we'll be hoping we'll be getting them on a bad day rather than when they do turn up and put in a gutsy performance. But to be fair, the quality we have in our squad, we should be winning that game quite well.
Do you think Rovers will look to make changes, or do you think there's enough of a break there there was extra time at the end of the day as well, and penalties and the mental fatigue that can come with that?
Yeah, look, let's go back to what we discussed before we came on. Like, you know, Rovers have had a good bit of time before other teams got back, and like, you know, Bows were the same. You could see it towards the end of the extra time there the other night. The legs, although they were a bit shaky, they kind of got through it, you know, and I think that we have enough time to recover. I think maybe now, like yourself, we were talking about it on Facebook there a couple of days ago about Williams. I think Williams might come in for a game like this, you know. Green's been terrific. Look, his goal scoring record isn't fantastic, as we've said, but the likes of Williams, maybe Poles, I'm not sure. There's no reason to change Manus. Manus has been fantastic. Like, he's been one of our best.
I think the goalkeeper, if your goalkeeper is all right in that, you can leave the keeper in. You don't
maybe a couple of chops and change. You know, like you've got a couple of youth players coming through, like the likes of Callahan and Lua. They may get a run out, but look, we'll be just looking to get our name in the hat for the next round, which I would imagine we'll do.
Yeah, I'd like to see Williams himself get a game 90 minutes to see what he's like. I think he's more likely to score a goal than Green. I think Green has been good, but I think since lockdown, maybe hasn't been his best either. Would you agree with that, or what do you think yourself?
Yeah, look, I completely agree with you in that sense. Look, and I think it's 2 goals this season in 9 games. It's not really what you would look for in a centre forward across the board, but I personally think anyone in the league would take Aaron Green in their side just purely on what he does. Like, you know, he brings players into games and he does all the dirty work, all the donkey's work, if you want to call it, that other players don't want to do. And he's been an absolute massive influence in what we've done over the last 2-3 years, you know.
Definitely. Paul, Bohemians take on Cabinteely. A lot of people might see this as a banana skin. Cabinteely are top of the league in the first division. But similarly to Rovers in a way, do you expect Bowes to make many changes? Because again, Bowes went to extra time as well. And it's irrelevant whether you win on penalties or not in that sense. Like, you know what I mean? They've kept their same 11 for the last 3 or 4 matches, haven't they, roughly? Do you see maybe a Dawson Devoy even come in, or a Mandrew, or who do you see? Maybe a Kelly at the back or something like that, finishing?
Yeah, well, I would imagine Cornwall is going to be out. So there's definitely going to be changes, I would imagine. A lot of lads need game time. As we spoke on Facebook as well, Bowes haven't been making many substitutions throughout their games. One or two a game maybe. They haven't been using the full 5 that's available to them. That's just the way Keatlong is. Even before lockdown, he was fairly stringent with his substitutions, you know. But changes, I think there will be changes from tomorrow's game, and it is still a potential banana skin. Cabo aren't bad, you know. They're doing well, so I think we should have enough to beat them. But with next Saturday in mind, I'd imagine there will be changes.
Yeah, I think like Pat Devlin as well is a wily old skin, to say the least, isn't he? He's one of the great League of Ireland people, never mind managers, isn't he? Yeah, moving on quickly to that game, we have to talk about that Shamrock Rovers and Bohemians. It's a good time of the season for the match, isn't it? Let's be honest. Even from a neutral perspective, I'll say it, because there's 2 points between the teams. Rovers, I'm not going to say been shaky, because they're always going to drop points. They aren't going to win every game. They haven't actually lost still, but maybe they haven't been playing as well lately as they have been. And Bows, in a way, are under less pressure, because most people expect Shamrock Rovers to win the league. Even Bows fans generally would expect Shamrock Rovers to win the league. It's a massive game. I do think if Rovers win it, though, 5 points, you probably say they probably have it.
Yeah,
but if Bows get a draw or win, If Bowles get something out of that game or win that game, it's game on, big time. And I know people have said that Bowles mightn't have the squad, but you don't need the squad. There's only 9 matches left.
No.
So
we think, as you said there, I think if Rovers win on Saturday, 5 points, 8 games to play, it's going to be hard to pull that back. If Bowles win, I just think it's game on. It'll be exciting. And the way it is, if Rovers win the league, there'll be a couple of asterisks beside it, you know. There'll be a tainted victory. If Bowles win it, they'll be bleeding. Parties everywhere.
But that's an interesting point, though, isn't it? No matter who wins it, 18 games, if Rovers win it, they won't care. If Bowles win it, they won't care. If Dundalk win it, they won't give 2 shites either. But there's always a feeling of it's not 38 games, no matter who wins it as such. You'll still win the league, don't get me wrong. But and what can we do? We can't have 38 games, 36 games, whatever. That's the way it is. But at the same time, it means that everything is tight in the league. Like, JP, you see it with Derry City. 1 minute they're 4th, next minute there could be 8. There's 5 points between 3rd. I haven't got it in front of me now, but something like 5 points between 3rd and 8th, I think. So it turns it into a real sprint, JP, doesn't it?
If you look at half time last week against Cork, we were in the bottom 2, and at full time, the top 4. It's so tight. It's unbelievable. Like, we're 4 points away from the playoff places, and we're only 3 points away from the automatic European places. So from top, middle, and bottom, it's just so tight. Like, Waterford started last weekend in 4th place, and they finished in 8th place. It's a surreal season, and I think the shortened season, a lot of people were apprehensive about it, but I think as it's restarted and we see that teams are dropping points left, right, and centre, it's making for a very, very interesting league.
No, it is 100%. JP, as a neutral, how do you see it yourself between the top 2? Because I think it's fair we can write Dundalk out, can't we? Let's be honest about it. How do you see it between Rovers and Bohemians?
I think Dundalk are gone. I think if Bohs can get a result on Saturday, it's game on. I think if Rovers win, it's over. But regardless of the outcome on Saturday, it's still not going to decide the title. I still think there'll be a few twists and turns. I think by the time 18 games is over, I think it's Shamrock Rovers is going to end up winning it.
I think so. Philip, what do you think from a Rovers perspective? What do you think yourself?
What I'll say is, on the whole topic, like in terms of Rovers, Bowes, and it looks like that it's going to be us two, like, going towards the end of the season. Like, sorry, what's his name again from Bowes there?
Paul.
Yeah, Paul. As Paul said there a minute ago, like, Keith hasn't really made many changes, and what that does, well, from my perspective, what I see that is there's not really much confidence in anyone coming off the bench. Now, I could be completely wrong, and that might not be the truth. He wants to stay as solid as he can through games. He doesn't want to change much, but from my perspective, I see that as he doesn't have faith other than his starting 11. Now, look, towards the end of the season, that will show itself whether it's true or not. But I just think, on a personal note, like Rovers, we've won the cup last year, and we've done good things over the past couple of years, and like this whole philosophy that the club's adopted into from Stephen Bradley, like it just looks set up for us to win the league this year, and I don't think anyone will stop us, Bowes nor anyone else.
Actually, just a point there you mentioned on JP. Do you want to jump in there quickly? Yeah.
If you think back maybe 3 years ago when Shamrock Rovers went on to a 6-match losing streak, and they were so far off the piss that the media and everything was calling for Stephen Bradley's head, and the Rovers board stuck by him, and now they're reaping the benefits of it.
Yeah, just about to say it myself. I remember
point I was going to throw in.
I put on Facebook myself. I remember, I think we drew against I think we might have beaten Pats and drew against Bowes within the 1 week, the Wednesday and the Friday, Thursday and Sunday, whatever it was, whatever the games were. But basically, I stuck up saying, look, we need to stick by the manager. Now, look, I wasn't the only one. There was a lot of other people that said we need to stick behind Bradley and what he's doing. And a lot of fans, don't get me wrong, a lot of Rovers fans were angry and wanted him out. And there were other times as well. Like, there's been plenty of factors along the road to where we've been now. But I just think what he's done for the whole club and the community, it's absolutely amazing. And as great as fans are across the league, I don't think there's anyone like us in terms of the support we give our club and what we get back in return.
Yeah, That
I
point,
actually
JP. Come on, JP, go quickly.
they had lost to Bray, I think, on the Monday night, and we had them at the Brandon on the Friday, and we were thinking this is a good time to beat Rovers. McCain and finish 0-0.
Yeah.
But that's the interesting point with Rovers I was going to make earlier was Rovers and Bows. They do look like the most solid of the clubs, and interestingly, Long is there since 2012, I think, Paul, isn't it? And Bradley is there now, 5-6 years, is he, Philip?
Yeah, I think this is his 5th year. The
fifth year.
5-year plan. Like he said it from the start, that was going to be a long rebuild job, and it wasn't going to be 1 or 2 years. We're going to have to wait 5, maybe 6 years to win a league. So far, look, we won the cup last year. As I said, it seems to be like it's gonna be as exactly as he predicted it.
Yeah, well, that's an interesting point. I think too many clubs in the league, they fire their managers very quickly and don't give them a chance and things like that.
Yeah.
I've been looking at Stephen O'Donnell, not to get rid of him by any means, but kind of there's a few question marks for me there. I think Rovers probably had the same question marks with Bradley. I'm not sure if Bowes though, because Bowes were in a different situation, Paul, weren't they? Because Bowes were nearly relegated the year Long took over, so they were kind of at a case where. It was a case of things can't get any worse. So he got that time in that sense, didn't he?
Yeah, but that's like what Phil was saying there. Rovers stuck with Bradley. But it could have been easier to get rid of him and get someone else in to try to change things around. Bowes have done the exact same, and they've stuck by Heat Long. They've given them time. They're giving them resources now as well. So Bowes are building. They're still only building, and we can only see Bowes getting stronger. Over the next couple of years, and not just because of the Matt Doherty sale today. Like it's just the way the club is going. It's progressing nicely, and attendances are up. Everything, as I spoke to you when I done the best 11, like everything is just falling into place for Bowes. And come here, we need that throughout the whole league. Every team needs that kind of structure. I suppose it's only going to improve the quality of football as well along the way, and the product for fans.
Yeah, that's it too. Actually, JP, we spoke about this before, how we talk about players that leave our shores, that the clubs don't benefit financially. But Bohemians have benefited financially from Doherty and would have a lot more had Doherty went for, say, 40 million or something, in which maybe if there was no COVID, he could have went for that. Who knows? But, I'd love to see more clubs benefit in such a way that, because you don't know who you have. I mean, Pats, whoever might have a youngster, Finn Harps might have a youngster. These guys might go on to be a Matt Doherty. You just don't know. It's well worth putting in these clauses, etc., etc.
Or an end of Stevens, just saying. Or an end of Stevens.
Or an end of Stevens. There you go as well. Unfortunately, he didn't get a Matt Doherty fee, did he?
Yeah,
but at the same time, though, you just don't know. You know what I mean? That's something we need to tap into a lot more. I don't know if JP, Derry have any guys hanging around there that might have that potential. What do you think yourself?
Possibly Owen Toll. He's
at
the end of last season he signed a 3-year deal because Ipswich Town were sniffing around him. So I think Devine moved quickly to tie. He's probably at the minute the best prospect we have of maybe getting a deal done. There was a wee lad went to Lincoln from the academy over the summer, Bobby Dean he was called. So I'm not sure what way that deal would work, whether Derry would benefit from it in years to come. But I think there's a lot of speculation around a transfer for Ronan Curtis, and I think Derry City have a sell-on clause there. So if that was to go through, then hopefully we do benefit from it. But I think League of Ireland clubs are sometimes run that they need the money there and then, so they'll negotiate maybe an extra 50k to 100k extra instead of the sell-on fee that maybe might not come along. So we do, I think, players short, but you have to give credit to Bowes. They stuck that 10% or whatever it was Andy Matt Doherty's sale to Wolves, and 10 years later they've reaped the benefits. So it's all about sitting, waiting, and your opportunity will come.
Yeah, it's all to do with patience. Paul, who would you say is the best young prospect of Bohemians at this minute in time, in your view?
Possibly Lyons. Pretty good. He's very good. He's just coming on leaps and bounds the last couple of years now, and that's what I'm saying. The Bowes should be looking to giving him a 2 to 3 year deal, So if someone is interested in not getting for peanuts, or waiting till his contract runs out and then just sign him as a free agent or whatever way, it will work out, you know. So I think, yeah, long term contracts is the way to go. But Andy Lyons, who else? Twardick as well. He's only young. He's very good. You know, so there's a few there. There is a few young lads. Most of the Bows team are all young. Anyway, they're all fairly young.
Phil, what about yourself at Shamrock Rovers? Who would you say, like, people talk about Jack Byrne, but I mean guys who aren't internationals or anything like that, young guys coming through, who's the greatest, best prospect?
You know something, with all the talk going on about Dean Williams, someone that's kind of slipped under the radar, I mentioned him there earlier, was Thomas Alua. Like, he done well when he came on a couple of games last season. I know he hasn't been as involved this year, but if he keeps doing and playing the way he is for the second team, like, he could be back in the first team in a matter of months. And, you know, like, with the way he is, the type of forward he is, like, he's only 18, 19, but, like, he's big, he's strong, and, like, he's quick as well for how big he is, like, you know. So it goes to show that, like, centre forwards like that are hard to come by, especially at such a young age, like, you know. So he could end up getting a move. But another one, Ferrugia as well. He's like, everyone knows the potential is there, like, but he's a bit, like, you know, like Bambi on ice running down the wings.
End product is a bit, end product is a little bit of a thing that's missing at the moment.
If he was to improve on that aspect of his game, there'd be no doubt in my mind you'd have a League One Championship side maybe looking at him. But yeah, look, we're happy with what we have in terms of our squad at the minute, so we won't be looking to sell anyone.
No. Apart from Zeffy might be off to Inter, actually. Isn't that a young lad?
Yeah.
That's 15 or something.
Yeah, to be honest, I haven't watched much of him.
I haven't seen him either, no.
Yeah, a couple of lads that would go to the youth games have probably said, look, he has potential to be something, but personally, I haven't seen anything of him.
Yeah, Inter could be a dodgy move anyway for a young fella like that, I think. You know, you never know. But I don't know. Even Robbie Keane was older years ago. He went to Inter, and I don't know if that really worked very well, you know. But lads, thanks very much for coming on. Really appreciate and enjoyed it immensely. Thanks very much.
All the best.
Take care, mate. All right.
See you later. Bye-bye.